Hello class, my name is Brittany and I'm going to be going into a little bit of detail of my child development project. For my project, I interviewed a 2.5, almost 3-year-old little boy. He was one of my coworkers' brothers. Now, this was a little bit difficult at first because we had never met before, so we had some trust issues there. Now I decided to break through that, and I told him a little bit about who I was and what was I about and why I was trying to do this test. And I think that helped him warm up to me a little bit more. So I kind of turned the ASQ into a game for him, which he definitely enjoyed. Now, he scored pretty highly in each category. He was struggling a little bit with the problem solving and communication category. Now, he is really young and he had just signed up for a school program. So I wasn't too worried about that, just because once he starts going through the motions of school, his communication skills and his problem solving skills will be resolved once he starts going through homework, interacting with his students, as well as interacting with his teacher. The only thing that I was a little bit worried about was his social life at home. Now, it seemed that his parents aren't very active in his life and don't communicate with him very well. So for the ASQ, I actually had his parents and his older brother there with me. Now, he was not very active in communicating and asking and talking to his parents. It was more of talking to his brother and getting his brother's approval of things. So that, I think, was a problem, that parents aren't actively interested in his life and in furthering his education and furthering his communication. To answer the 3 questions, what are the implications to social work of understanding your child's development? I think it's super important that social workers are very well-rounded. Whether you want to work with children or whether you don't want to work with children, it is important to understand them and understand the importance of each milestone for the child and for their future, so that you can work with their families, with their parents, or people in their community. Now, I do think that the ASQ is a really good tool for people in our people in my demographic region. I live in San Antonio, Texas, so we have a huge Hispanic, Latino culture. And so many times, especially when I worked at a community center, so many times I would hear children that, are living with a single mom, single dad, broken home, different mom, different dad, siblings from 3 different parents. And it's important for each child to get the attention that they deserve, and for each child to be given the chance to develop properly. So I think it's important for our culture to pay attention to their milestones and pay attention to whether they're achieving their milestones. So I think the ASQ would be a great tool to implement a little bit more frequently. And what did I learn? I learned a lot. I learned that practice makes perfect, so hopefully that I'll get to practice more with the ASQ and get a little bit more familiar with questions that should be asked, questions that should be paid attention to a little bit more. Now, whether which that should stick out to me a little bit more. I learned that every child is different, very, very different. Now, while I had a child that was fairly simple to test, I'm sure there's children out there that struggle very much so with learning how to complete certain tasks. So, hopefully, with a few more practices, I can get the ASQ down perfectly. And I learned the importance of each milestone in a child's development. I learned what it does for them in the future, what it does for them at school, at home, with their friends, and how each development milestone creates a person as a whole, and how important it is to make sure that each milestone is completed. Thanks, guys.